right, ladies and gentlemen, if everybody's back, we'll resume. Have a motion here moved by Doug Hutchison, second by Rob Thompson. Be resolved that Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 7:06 p.m. Any question on the motion? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That would carry. We're now back in open session. Very good. Matters arising from closed session. I don't think there are any at this time. Consent agenda. Moved by Bev Cutting and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be resolved that items A1 to C2 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted. And further that authorization be given for the action to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Clerk Mark Turner.
Within the consent agenda package, there is a resolution of support for the Municipality of Meaford's and the Grey County CEO letter regarding the Municipal Management Internship Program. The CEO Deputy Clerk had emailed an email from the Town of Hanover that was received late this afternoon, also noting the Town of Hanover's council's support for that resolution. So I just wondered if council would entertain amending the one resolution in consent agenda to note support for the Town of Hanover's resolution as well.
All right, thanks for that, Mark. That to council's liking? And seeing some nodding heads. I don't see anybody shaking their head. Okay.
Adopted as amended.
Adopted, that's okay, so we'll put adopted, be adopted as amended. All right, thanks for that, Mark. Okay, it has been duly moved and seconded. Any other questions on the motion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Consent agenda as amended? That would carry. All right, very good. We're down to communications from council. From mayor and council, anybody have any communications to offer at this time? Councillor Lawrence first, please.
Thank you. I just want to report on the very successful craft show that the Newstead Recreation Committee hosted for Saturday in November. With attendees and vendors, there were over 1,550 people in attendance, so it was very successful, and the vendors were happy. There were a lot of sales for them and a lot of happy buyers, so it was very good.
Oops, okay, thanks for that. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. This coming Saturday is the Durham Recreation Committee's shopping expo at the Durham Arena from 9 to 4. So the signs have been placed out throughout the community. And one other item, the Chamber of Commerce is doing a promotion for Christmas with the what's called Chamber Bucks, and which includes, they were hoping to have 24 businesses to make this project go, and there's 5 businesses in Newstead and the rest in the Durham area that are interested in doing this promotion. It started off last Tuesday with only 8 out of the 24 that they were hoping for, and was asked if it was possible if economic development could assist financially with this program, and unfortunately we're unable to have a economic development meeting, so I was going to bring it forward tonight and ask council. And as the week went on last week, they went up to 16 businesses, and Friday afternoon I made a couple of visits in local businesses, and a couple of the other committee members did so. Anyways, they have 22 now out of the 24 required, so it's going to go ahead. And they're actually looking for, request was made if the council or economic development would contribute, be partnered into this program with a financial donation. And I guess I'd leave it up to the council here now, but it's, as I said, they've met their their goal to go ahead with the project and the promotion. So I'm basically leaving it up to a decision here, and they're looking for either $500 or $1,000 to help offset some of the advertising locally in the papers and radio ads. But as I said, they've met their goal. So it'd be, I guess, up to the council if they want to make a decision or some input on this.
Okay, Councillor Robb, certainly good news. They obviously did a lot of work in the last week then to go from 8 businesses to 16 and then to 22. I know it was looking a little bleak there for a while, but to their credit, they got out and kicked some tires and walked some concrete and got some more business to join their venture. I think a very worthwhile project. Any other views from any councillor members? They were looking for a donation, but do you think now that if they've got 22, they're not requiring that at this time?
Yeah, they have met their goal, and as that committee is, I guess it's no different than any other committee that have functions and so on. And actually, they just still ask. I asked the question on Friday night through email to the members, executive members, and is it necessary now that you've met your goal? Is it necessary to go back to council and ask for either economic development support, or is this something maybe economic development could do in the future, or council could do in the future if there was a plan or another promotion going on and they were having problems with it, struggling through to acquire their goal? But anyways, they felt if we could ask, the bottom line is just asking. It's not that if we don't do it, it's still going to go ahead because they have met their goals. So it's totally up to yourselves whether you want to partner with them or not. As I said, probably not the end of the world.
Okay, Councillor Hutchinson. Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that it sounds like a good program, and I know the Newstead businesses that I've met with were excited about it, and that it was something that all of the West Grey can get involved in. I would just maybe like to suggest that we take it, Rob, to the Economic Development Committee and maybe run it by them, because I think they do have some money there, but it's something we could maybe discuss when our next meeting comes up. I know it's a little bit late, but if it ends up coming in a little bit late, it's probably not going to be a factor if they're going to go ahead anyways, right? So it would be just a bonus amount. So that's my suggestion, is we take it to economic development and see if we can support it.
Okay, yeah. In that last week when we were discussing the advertisements to get into the newspaper is tomorrow. The program starts on the 23rd of November and runs to the 21st of December for the chamber bucks. Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from, and yeah, probably that'd be an excellent idea. It's basically to help offset some of the costs of advertising, and that's something they've already covered. So maybe if the Economic Development Committee wishes to contribute, then they can put that towards their advertising costs. But anyways, unfortunately, we were unable to have a meeting. So yeah, I suppose we could leave it at that, and you're right, and bring it forward at our, I believe it's November 26th is our next economic development meeting. We can bring it forward then.
Okay, very good, and there might be some additional information at that time to bring forward, and we'll be able to gauge, I guess, support and whether we need, from an economic development point of view, be able to, whether we have to contribute at that time or not, or if we wait for bigger and better things to happen next year. Okay? Very good. Any other communications from council? As everybody knows, the mayor is away on vacation, and hopefully yesterday he was able to get the baptism of his granddaughter completed, and he had to make the trek to Florida with all the shall we say, terrible perils that have been in the world the last couple of days. Hopefully they let him back across the border. So, but I don't think they'll want to keep him in America very long. So I'm pretty sure he'll be back. So, very good. All right, delegations. We don't have any delegations at this time, and And business arising from a previous meeting. I don't think there is any. Any of the members present? We're down then to staff reports. And Carrie, our Director of Finance Treasurer, has her report first. Customary, we'll go through the vouchers first. And then if there's any questions, Carrie's here to answer them. Are there any questions on any of the vouchers this evening? Carrie, I had one, maybe just while anybody else is looking, just right at the end. I know we had some tax sales, and I think there was some stuff right at the end. I think it was $760 some 3 times in a row. Is that for 3 weeks worth of? Can you just explain how that went?
All right. Yeah. So each file will have. So there was 3 files. So then these sending out the final notices and everything that's involved in there. So and those are charged back to the properties in question. So it's just each of them will have a different file number for the different property roll number.
Very good. Okay, I thought that was standard. Just saw that. Any other questions about any of the vouchers? Seeing none, I do have a resolution here. Moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison, be resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 21, 2015 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $745,521.03. Clerk Mark, please.
Carrie, did Laurie send an email about there was going to be a slight change, $14 change?
Yeah,
or
there was. It was at $12.43. One of the advertisings was canceled. It was on the wrong date for the Newstead Recreation, so we can just. It's been canceled out of this batch, but it was after the printing, so we can just adjust the next report. That's fine.
We'll leave, okay, and then Clerk Mark says we'll leave this as this and we'll adjust it on the next report. That work for everybody, okay? Since I've read the motion. Okay, so we do not have to amend the motion. No questions on the motion. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That would carry. All right. Very good. Okay, Carrie, and to your anything else from you? I think there was. Yeah. Go ahead. Here we go. Okay. All right, we have a recommendation from the Committee of the Whole meeting. Carrie, maybe enlighten everybody on this, please.
Yes, so the last time Council had reviewed the remuneration for the volunteer firefighters was 2011. So it was discussed at Committee of the Whole, and the following the motion that you have there in the report is to approve a $1 an hour raise on the scale for each of the positions starting in 2016. And then to consider adjusting with the cost of living going forward so it doesn't get out of scale with the rest.
Okay, and there was a lengthy discussion about this. Any other views? I do have a resolution here then, if there's no other questions about that. Moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved, the Council of Municipality of West Grey hereby approves a $1 an hour raise for West Grey firefighters in 2016. And further that, consideration be given to providing cost of living adjustments for West Grey firefighters in line with West Grey employees starting in 2017 as recommended by the Committee of the Whole. Okay. Any questions on the motion? Councillor Don.
I guess I'm not going to support this, mainly because I think that the word volunteerism is kind of getting a little skewed. We have in the whole high schools now that kids have to do 40 hours of volunteer work. When we get them into adulthood, now our volunteers want to be paid. And I think that we're just setting a bad example, so I cannot support this.
Okay, thanks, Don, for your views. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I think that term volunteer had gone out a number of years ago, and the firefighters now across the country are classified as part-time firefighters. So that volunteer used to, stand at one time, and there was pay for volunteering. Not a great deal, but in the years of past. But as I said, the term has now gone aside, and they're classified as part-time. So basically, they're entitled to pay as a part-time firefighter. So I'll support this.
Okay, thanks. Rob, anything else to add? Carrie, go ahead.
Just that if the motion continues with the, does it say volunteer in there? No, okay. Just to change their status away from volunteer would have different implications. When you're talking about part-time, just there's bigger implications if you're thinking of referring them to.
Yes, there is. Ones that I dare say we may not be able to afford. Okay. Councillor Don, go ahead. Councillor Marshall has asked for a recorded vote. Any other? I'll take that as to make sure there's no other questions. No other questions or comments? Okay. Councillor Don asked for a recorded vote. Mark, please call the vote.
Deputy Mayor Bell.
Yes.
Councillor Cutting. Yes. Councillor Hutchison.
Yes.
Councillor Lawrence.
Yes.
Councillor Marshall.
No.
Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1. Is carried. All right. Next, Carrie.
So next I have the draft RFP for our municipal insurance renewal, just for council review if there's any comments, questions, or changes. Otherwise, we will advertise that on the website and distribute that to interested parties starting tomorrow. Looking at a closing of December 11th, I think I had on there.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cutting. Please use your mic, Bev, if you can, please.
December 31 for a calendar year. Hopefully we don't need to get an extension that we can, was it last year we had to get an extension for a couple of months while we were deciding on levels of deductible and changes and things like that. So we did get a short-term extension, but normally it runs January to December.
Thanks for that explanation. I know that everybody has insurance on their mind, and yes, this is coming forward in a, shall we say, a more proactive way this year to try to get things organized as far as getting this RFP out. Hopefully we'll create a little competition in the insurance game. Okay. No other questions for Carrie about insurance? All right, I do have a resolution here moved by Doug Hutchison, seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the request for proposals, RFP, tender for municipal insurance document contained in report FTR number 11, 1615. Any questions on the motion? I'll call the question. All in favor of the RFP? Opposed, if any? That would carry. All right, and Carrie, you had a letter from the Art Gallery.
Yes, they're looking for council to consider providing a capital grant towards some IT upgrades that they need there. Just looking for council direction on whether you're willing to entertain that.
Okay, Councillor Lawrence had her hand up first.
Thanks. If we were going to consider this, would it not be part of next year's budget?
They're looking for the money now.
We have made grants to them this year, though, have we not?
They have, the Economic Development Committee has given them their annual $5,000 grant, if you will. That's been done. Yes. This is over and above that they're looking for. This is not part of, yeah.
Over and above, if I might, over and above the 5,000 and over and above the relief of the municipal portion of the taxes also, is that not right? Yeah. Yes. Okay. I think Councillor Cutting had her hand up. Bev, anything to add? No? Okay. Councillor Robb.
I see where they've done a fair bit of fundraising in regards to this, but I think there's still other resources out there that they could possibly tap into to come up with the $580 that they require. And I think we've done our fair share to support the Art Gallery in funding through economic development and taxes and so on. And I know it's not a great amount, but I think like anything else, if you want it bad enough, you'll fundraise for it. And other committees have done that. I know we're still doing the same thing for our cemetery, the Durham Cemetery, the chapel, still fundraising to complete that project. So I think it's something that they can go back and look at other avenues and other service groups or so on within West Grey that maybe will support them. But I think we've done our fair share at this level.
Okay, thanks for that view. Anyone else? Councillor Hutchinson.
Just a little curious with do you know why the $580 amount is? Like, was that what they needed to finish the project, or it didn't?
I'm assuming that's their shortfall, the way she's got it written there, but
Yeah, because I sort of agree that it doesn't seem like a huge amount, but given that we support them with $5,000 grant already, it seems sort of strange that we'd throw in another $580 at this point, especially when we're coming up to budget time and renegotiating and that. So I would say I wouldn't support giving them at this time.
Okay, thanks for that, Doug. I don't see anybody wanting to make a motion to support, so are we going to note and file and we'll let them know with a letter? Okay, thank you. All right, very good. Anything else for us this evening, Carrie?
nope, that's everything I have.
Thank you. Is any members of council any questions for the Director of Finance? Well, thanks very much, Carrie. Very good. All right. Okay, Carrie, Mark's whispering in my ear that Carrie's going to stay for Ken's report, I think. But Mr. Gould, you're on now.
Okay, the item I have here on the report is that the province of Ontario have announced they've gone back to the Connecting Link funding. They've renewed it, and the funding applications, I believe, are on the website beginning November the 19th, Carrie? Yeah. And we previously done some pre-engineering work on the Connecting Link through Durham, And we've also filled out an application on a previous funding grant for the underground, the water and the sewer. And this one would be for bridge rehabilitation, storm sewer, and pavement rehab. So if we could get them to combine together, that would be great. So certainly
Okay.
recommend that we move forward and put an application in for the bridge and the pavement rehab and the storm sewer.
All right. Questions for Ken? Discussion? Everybody, sounds like everybody's in agreement with you, Ken. Councillor Don, go ahead.
What is the cost of that project, Cam, figure?
I'm not exactly sure yet, Don. We haven't got an engineer in place to, we need an engineer that can do the structural part of the bridge along with the road work, so we haven't gone down that path yet.
You need that for the application?
Yes, we will.
So that, you get that done in 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, I expect so, yeah. If we get council's consent here to move forward, we'll start working on it right away.
Yeah.
This doesn't commit council, but it does, what Ken's looking for is direction to proceed with this. Okay, I'm seeing everybody nodding their head affirmative and nobody negative. Okay? All right. Councillor Lawrence.
Would we not need a motion to approve applying for the program?
We're-
Oh, you got it there,
we're-
okay.
we're gonna
I
get-
thought you
we're
were
gonna
just
get to
giving
that.
direction.
No, but if there's no more questions for Ken, yes, I think he's waiting for this. We do have a resolution here moved by Rob Thompson, second by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the submission of an application under the Connecting Link Funding Program for the Highway 6 Garifraxa Street project from George Street West to Sadler Street. Okay. Everybody's good with that? I'll call the question. All in favor of that? Opposed, if any? That would carry. Okay, Ken, you'll be able to go and give us the good news. All right. Anything else for us this evening?
Yes, we've received a letter from Saugeen Valley Conservation. I believe everybody has a copy of that, do they? It's regards to the Mew Creek erosion. This letter relates to the erosion of the north.
Actually, Ken, I'm just going to hold you up. Yeah, we don't have this one yet, but we're going to get it.
It's waiting to be introduced.
Give me that back. All right, go ahead, sir.
We received a letter from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority in regards to the erosion on Mew Creek. This would be, they're related, talking about to be north of the soccer field. And there's, apparently the river was diverted back in the fall of 1978, and they put it back, diverted the river onto the road allowance that runs through there. So the conservation goes on to say that they would apply for funding and would be based on the 50-50 cost from the municipality and the province. But I believe Mark has a follow-up from the MOE regards to ownership for the property. So Mark, I'll maybe let you jump in.
Mark, go ahead, please.
Yeah, we sometimes hear about the wheels of government moving slowly, and this will be certainly a case in point. In 1999, the Neustadt wastewater lagoon and collection system was completed, and there's a transfer order transferring ownership of that system and some easements from the Ministry of Environment to Neustadt and the Ontario Clean Water Agency. And that was in 99. In 2008, Council at the time did receive some correspondence from the Ministry of Environment indicating that the transfer omitted a part of the lands, which I've shown in the map, which Mr. Gould has already alluded to, mistransferring that as part of the transfer. So on November 17th, 2008, Council at that time passed a resolution indicating that authorizing municipal staff to undertake necessary action to facilitate the transfer of a permanent easement from the Ministry of Environment to the municipality, and gave the legal description of the property. At that time then, there was further correspondence from the Ministry of Environment indicating they would prepare such a transfer document and bring it to the municipality for final consent. So, 7 years later, I did get an email from the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change indicating that the transfer is now completed, or at least drafted, and asking for comments back from the municipality on transferring the land. And if there were no comments by November 20th, then they would go ahead regardless. So Council did previously indicate that they would obviously agree to that transfer. To be honest, I'm not sure what would happen if Council did not agree. I suspect that the province would use its big stick and transfer it anyway. However, this was rather timely because, again, we have this correspondence from the Conservation Authority indicating that, there's some erosion problems. And with the erosion problems, as you know, with the Neustadt Lagoon, there were also some erosion problems on the banks, and that cost a not insubstantial amount of money. So obviously there are going to be costs involved with remedying the erosion that the Conservation Authority has identified in this email. And again, with this transfer, obviously, will certainly officially become required to complete these works, I suspect. And so before at least commenting back from the Ministry of Environment on formally completing the transfer, I did want to bring this to Council's attention. So if I sign back on it and then it was found out there's some costs involved, I didn't want my pay to be deducted. So
what you're trying in a roundabout way is to don't shoot the messenger.
yes, I think it's probably a formality that's going to happen one way or the other, but whether or not Council indicates because of the works that have to be done that maybe they're not favorable, I don't know what would happen with the Ministry of Environment. I can only guess that they would find a way to transfer it because they do have that authority, I would suspect, to do so, even without consent.
All right. Questions and opinion from any councillors? Ken, have you got a follow-up to that?
The Conservation Authority was going to get a proposal from an engineer to see just exactly what the cost may be on this, so we're not sure what the cost would be to haul the rock in and stabilize the banks, so that hasn't been done yet. She's supposed to get back to me on that part of it.
Okay. Just kind of got one project over and we're looking at another one. Any other councillors have anything to say at this time? We'll look forward to more good news in the future.
Council want me to note the concern and not provide authority?
Does council wish the clerk to voice his concern about the lengthy, shall we say, bureaucratic process, or?
Mark's just impatient.
No, as Councillor Robb says, it's probably not going to change anything. And whether we get a great deal of satisfaction from it or not, I don't know. I'll take Larry first and then Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What if we advise the Ministry of the Environment and Climate Change that we appreciate that they're finally getting around to doing this change, and we also appreciate the fact they've taken this long to do it, because now they are going to be on the share for a percentage of the upkeep on the stretch of riverbank.
Mark, go ahead.
I would concur with the CAO. I think a letter or an email to the ministry indicating that the municipality has become aware of some pending costs that may be significant, and that because of that, the municipality would like to see the ministry paying for that project before it is officially transferred. I would recommend perhaps I send a letter to that effect and see where the chips fall.
Okay, and I see the Director of Infrastructure nodding his head affirmative, and Councillor Hutchinson.
So I guess given that it took 7 years for them to get back to us, then between the conservation area, if we put them on hold for until we hear back from the ministry, then maybe we're looking at another 7 years to get it resolved. Who knows?
Yeah, the one question I had, Ken, can you enlighten us as to how long a stretch this is? Is it both sides of the creek or just one side, or letter's a little vague?
Yes, it is both sides of the creek, and then it's also south of there too, like it's the soccer field. There is some erosion on the Mew Creek behind the soccer field as well, so it's going to be a fairly major project.
Now, another question, just while I'm thinking about this, like, is this, okay, this is Mew Creek, and that's fine, like, are they going to be starting to look, I'm just going to throw it out there, are they going to start looking at the Saugeen Valley, or Saugeen River running through Durham, looking for erosion that's happening there at any point, and wanting us to fix the banks with the Saugeen?
I really can't answer that one, but there is definitely erosion over there at the Mew Creek. South of the walkway bridge we just installed, it's from there down.
So from there
towards the bridge we're reconstructing on the 16th.
Right, okay. Councillor Doug.
So I'm just not sure, how has this become our problem? Like what did we do to create this situation?
Yeah, we missed,
the MOE have indicated that we're the landowner. So if you're the landowner, you're responsible for the erosion on the banks.
Okay, I'm going to put my faith in the CAO, the Director of Infrastructure, and the clerk here to draft a letter to the MOE to express our concerns going forward, recognizing that, not sure what it'll, shall we say, accomplish in the short term, but certainly in the long term, we're going to be on the hook for some costs on this. Okay? All right. Anything else, Ken?
That's all I have at this time.
Maybe just from the chair, I might say I was talking, is there a little paving maybe going to happen tomorrow, be north of number 4 highway on the 2nd of Glen Elk?
Yeah, they've scheduled, I believe, the paving for tomorrow afternoon for the concession 2 there, south of Durham Road, between Durham Road and the highway there. Yeah, they've got it graded up and pulverized, and it actually looks pretty good there tonight. So
good, very good. Get that done before the weather turns real ugly. Okay, good. Any questions for Ken from any members of council? Very good. Thanks, Ken, for coming in and sharing that good news with us. All right. CEO Deputy Clerk has a couple of attachments here. Larry, what can you tell us? The floor is yours, sir.
Good news, Mr. Chair. The West Grey, Hanover and Magwood Ontario Municipal Board decision has been accepted. This was the mutually agreed upon submission to the Ontario Municipal Board at the beginning of October, which avoided the Ontario Municipal Board hearing. It's now official, and I provided all of you with a copy of the decision. I just wanted you to be aware of that, and it is now a public document. So that is a long road we've gone down, but we came to a mutually agreeable conclusion, I believe, for all parties.
Okay. Any questions to Ken about that item of business, or sorry, excuse me, to Larry about that item of business? Pretty self-explanatory. All right. Anything else for us, Larry?
I have a secondary report there, Mr. Chair. It's on page 104 of your agenda. This is the RFP on property standards and bylaw enforcement. There's a recommendation there that you receive this report and that Jennifer Watson, Bylaw Control and Enforcement, be awarded the RFP for the provision of bylaw and property standard services for the period November 1st, 2015 to October 31st, 2017 in the amount of $28,476, including HST per annum, and that initial cost sharing arrangement for the first year be cost shared in the following manner: 40% to Grey Highlands, 40% to West Grey, and 20% to the Township of Chatsworth, and that a revised cost-sharing arrangement based on calls of service will be used for the second year of the proposal. The report further gives some background information on the entire document and how the breakdown was evaluated. We interviewed both of the candidates that had submitted for the RFP, and this was the recommendation of all three parties involved. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try and answer them for you, Mr. Chair.
Very good, Larry. Yep, very detailed report. I was also part of the investigation into this, and I think Jennifer comes well qualified. She's thought a lot of in that part of the world, and I thought that she offered that, shall we say, I'm going to say that local flavor with the idea that she was going to get things done, but wasn't going to be maybe as intrusive as maybe one could be, and I think she has a definite feel for what needs to be done, and I was enthused by speaking with her. So that's my take on it. Yes, go ahead, Larry.
One item that is included in the report, and I want council to be aware of it, that the flat fee that we would currently be paying would be for 24/7 services. Should we wish to have statutory holiday coverage, another $50 per day. And also that if there's court time involved, preparation for court and actual time spent in court would be an additional $18 per hour for the time spent on that. So the flat fee will be there, including HST, but there will be costs over and above that. You'll notice that in the financial impact, I also outlined the fact that we had a number set in the budget this year for bylaw enforcement that can well and truly take care of the amount that's being proposed here, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other questions for Larry on any of these items? Councillor Doug.
How do you see this working, Larry, in terms of like, is it good? It says something in there about not being based on complaint basis or whatever, but is there going to be like a list that she's going to be given by each municipality where she's going to start from in terms of the job itself?
Chair, to Councillor Hutchison, that's correct. We have a list of outstanding submissions that we would provide to the individual, who would then, as you can see, being 40-40-20, more or less is 2 days per week for Grey Highlands, two days for us and one for Chatsworth. But that's just the base cost for the first year. From there, it would be based on a call per service, so we break that down further once we have some history involved with the number of calls being handled. So I believe that answers your question. We would get some time with the individual, and we do have a significant backlog that we are all aware of. So.
Yeah, and actually, she is a West Grey resident. Yeah, so, okay. That's about as much as we can say about that. Any other questions? Okay. If not, I think it's a good place to start, and I think there'll be some surprisingly good results come out of this. All right. We do have a resolution moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Carol Lawrence, that the council receive CR 1611-2015 with respect to the provision of bylaw enforcement and property standards services, and that Jennifer Watson, bylaw control and enforcement, be awarded the request for proposal, RFP, for the provision of bylaw and property standards services for the period November 1st, 2015 to October 31st, 2017, in the amount of $28,476, including HST per annum, and that the initial cost sharing arrangement for the first year be cost shared in the following manner: 40% for the Municipality of Grey Highlands, 40% for the Municipality of West Grey, 20% for the Township of Chatsworth, and that a revised cost sharing arrangement based on calls of service will be used for the second year of the proposal. Any question on the motion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, of any? That would carry. Okay. What else do you have for us, Larry?
I believe that covers the items that I have, including the in-camera items that we discussed previously, Mr. Chair.
All right.
However, I'm more than willing to take questions should council have any.
I was just going to ask, is any council members have any questions for the CAO? I do not see any. Oh, Larry, go ahead.
There's one more thing. I just wanted to remind council that the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing South Central Annual Conference is this Friday in London, and I believe yourself, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Lawrence will be attending from council. I received some information today which I forwarded on to you. Is anyone else from council attending that session? Okay, fair enough. Just wanted to remind council of that upcoming event, which is this Friday.
Very good. Thanks for that. Councillor Cutting.
Has the venue been set for the strategic plan on the 26th? Is that at the fire hall? Did I read that correctly? And are we still in committee of the whole on the 30th?
Looks like we have a quorum, yes.
That would be correct, Councillor. It is at the fire hall. Correct.
Okay. And committee of the whole is going ahead?
Go ahead, Mark, please.
Yes, we do appear to have a quorum. There will be 4 members that have indicated they can make the November 30th meeting. There's 3 that cannot. So there will be a quorum. There is one delegation scheduled at that time, but certainly if council wants to entertain other thoughts, that could be discussed.
Okay, so the committee of the whole is still on then? Okay. I believe so, 9, yeah. Okay. Is that all then, Bev, you need?
Yes, sir. Checking the list.
Yep, very good. Okay, any other questions for Larry? Thanks very much, Larry. All right, we're down to bylaws. And we do have 2, 4, 6 of them by the looks of things this evening. First, 77's first, yep. Okay, down to bylaws. First bylaw, moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchinson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 77, 2015, being a bylaw to stop up and close part of a municipal road described as part of unnamed streets, parts 2, 4, 5, and 6, reference plan 16R-1 10647, being part of property identification number 37320-0182 LT in the former town of Durham, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, being engrossed in the bylaw book. All right. Any questions on the bylaw? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of this resolution? Opposed of any? That would carry. All right. Bylaw 78. Excuse me, moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that bylaw number 78, 2015, being a bylaw to rezone Lot 6, Part Division 3, Concession 1, WGR, former Township of Benwick, Duguay, Turles, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, be engrossed in the bylaw book, as recommended by the planning committee. Okay. Any questions on the bylaw? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed of any? That would carry. Next, we have moved by Doug Hutchison, second by Rob Thompson, excuse me. Be it resolved that bylaw number 79-2015, being a bylaw to establish a site plan control area bylaw for lands described as Plan 505, Lot 13, Queen, WS 436, Queen Street South in Durham, Southeast Grey Nonprofit Homes, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Questions on the bylaw? Councillor Marshall.
Just ask for recorded vote on this one, please.
Okay.
This is only to develop a site plan.
Councillor Thompson.
This isn't to,
This is to establish a site plan control area bylaw for lands described as.
and that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Bylaw 79 of 2015 would establish a site plan control area, which means a site plan agreement would be required. The next bylaw 80 of 2015 would rezone the lands. If it's approved, and if the site plan control area bylaw is approved, even though the zoning, if it gets approved, with the site plan control, the intended use cannot proceed until the site plan agreement is entered into and approved by the municipality, if both bylaws are approved.
Okay, everyone's clear on that? Councillor Marshall.
I guess I'll withdraw that, and we'll have a recorded vote on the next one.
You're requesting recorded vote on bylaw number 80, which has not been introduced yet. Okay. All right. So bylaw 79, everybody's clear? All right. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed of any? That would carry. All right, bylaw moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 80-2015, being a bylaw to rezone lands described as Plan 505, Lot 13, Queen, WS 436 Queen Street South, Durham, Southeast Grey Nonprofit Homes, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Okay. Mark, please, go ahead.
I should have added to my comments, obviously, if, with the site plan control area bylaw being approved, if the zoning does not get approved, it renders bylaw 79, 2015 rather moot, because obviously the zoning wasn't approved, so there would be therefore no need for the site plan agreement.
Okay. And Councillor Marshall has asked for a recorded vote. All right. Any other comments from any of the members? Okay.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
Yes.
Councillor Cutting, Councillor Hutchison, Councillor Lawrence, Councillor Marshall,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
No.
The motion is carried 4-2. All right. Next bylaw has been moved by Doug Hutchison, second by Rob Thompson. Be resolved that bylaw number 81, 2015, being a bylaw to amend West Gray stop sign bylaw number 73, 2013 in the County of Gray, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Okay. Seeing no questions, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That would carry. And the last one this evening, moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 82-2015, being bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the November 16th, 2015 council meeting, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and CAO deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions on the motion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That would carry. Okay, I think that's it for bylaws. Any new business this evening from anyone? Seeing none. Addendums? I don't think we have any this evening. Notice of motion or any direct motions? None stated. Closed session. I don't think we have any incomplete items from closed session at this time. Matters arising from closed session, I don't think there's any of those. Question period. To the vast audience out there, we would ask for any questions, or from the producer of our TV and Friends in TV Land, I would ask for any questions from Adam. Seeing none. Municipal Act notices, I don't think we have any of those this evening. I would ask for that one final motion this evening. Mr. Hutchison raises number 20, which happens to be the right motion. I'll take Doug's adjournment. We do stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.